Aloha, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I am so excited for my next guest. Her name is Chelsea Garber. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you so much for having me, Pili. I'm happy to be here with you here today.
Super honored to have you today. So everyone, Chelsea is a multifamily real estate investor, syndicator, entrepreneur with extensive knowledge in design, architecture, construction, project management. Chelsea is a partner at the GreenLight Equity Group, a boutique multifamily investment firm focused on acquiring value-add commercial apartment buildings in emerging markets to help others gain financial freedom through passive real estate investments. Driving this work is her philosophy and mission to beautify her local surroundings, elevate the quality of life for the community and its residents, and provide solid returns for her investors and partners. Additionally, she is the founder of ROI ByDesign, a value-enhancing design and remodeling firm tailored to multifamily investment properties within all asset classes. Chelsea is a proud New Yorker, equestrian enthusiast, world traveler, and loves living a 5-star life. Again, welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you so much. I love having somebody else read my bio. That was fun.
It's an incredible bio. So let's talk about this 5-star life. How did you get there? Where did you start with this mindset of living basically your best life? How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of just to rewind, as you've mentioned in my bio, I'm a proud New Yorker, born and raised. My professional background is actually in interior design, construction, project management, have owned and still own multiple design firms. But growing up in New York and building a business there, as you can imagine, is incredibly stressful. New York City in itself there's a lot of energy going on, a lot of people. It's hard to protect your space. So I had a really great career and life there, and sort of just got to a point where I thought I reached this, when I make a certain amount of money, I'm going to reach happiness and I'm going to have everything. And it just didn't pan out that way. So I sort of kind of stumbled into multifamily investing more so as, what are other successful people doing? And I kept, this was maybe 5 or 6 years ago when bigger pockets was the thing, and was just educating myself with books and podcasts. And so I really became just really interested in investing. And like most people, got started with some single family house flips and quickly learned that was a job, replacing one job with the next. And although I loved it, because again, my career has been in design and bringing my skills from design and management to single family, although it was successful, I just didn't see really how I was eliminating any stress from my life, which was what I was trying to do all along. I'm sure you can relate.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you see me nodding my head the entire time. But for all of you that are listening to this, I am so just following your story, because that sounds exactly how my story went. Because my husband and I jumped into flipping and wholesaling, but we quickly realized, like you, that it was simply another job. So that's why we got into multifamily. But enough about me. When you jumped into multifamily, what did you start to realize?
So, well, first and foremost, I had no formal education. And I thought, if I'm going to get into multifamily and play with the big dogs, I need to know what I'm doing. How does a girl from New York with no real relative experience in commercial multifamily or real estate for that matter, go down this path? And I happened to join Michael Blanc's mentorship program. So I went through his mentorship program for about a year. This was in 2019. At that time, I was working one-on-one with a mentor who was turned into a great friend, and also we do business together. And I thought, great, like I'm all in on multifamily. I can do this on my own. I got this covered. Well, it didn't exactly pan out like that. So the first year, I really kind of just spent educating, learning. If I'm going to take other people's money and put these into, large scale multifamily assets, I need to really know what I'm doing. And simultaneously, I was going to events and networking, but I targeted my market, which at the time was Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma City. And a year went by and nothing happened, and I was getting frustrated. Like most people probably do when they're looking for a deal or
Mhm.
putting together for the first year. So, kind of what happened was I had an aha moment. I go, everybody else around me I'm seeing is partnering with people. They're getting these bigger deals done. I am doing something wrong here. And it was exactly that. I wasn't in the mindset of, because I hadn't been before, that this is a team sport. So I really, once I shifted my thinking and went from I can do this on my own to how can I create value and bring something to another group that we can join forces and do things together, did really things start to skyrocket.
No, that makes complete sense, especially once you said, I was ready to take this on. And like I heard the word kind of alone in that. Like you were just
Yeah.
going to be this one woman wrecking ball
Yeah.
and you were going to buy all the buildings, which is great. And I applaud that for anyone, for any of my listeners who have this mindset and you just want to be like that bulldog running into the wall. The key is, and you touched on that, the key is finding those partners that can point out that the door is right there. Instead of running your head into the wall over and over again, surround yourself with those people who can point that door out, open it up and say, walk through with me. So what happened at that moment when your partners, when you found those people to surround yourself with and you walked through that door, what happened then?
Well, it's not just that one door opens, so many door opens. And the work I had done prior to that, I can't discredit, because I was going to my target markets. I was building relationships with brokers. I was visiting the markets frequently. I was putting offers in on the property. I was doing all the things. However, once I met my now business partners, Tate Seymour and Carl York, actually at a real estate event a little over 2 years ago, did I realize, okay, we have shared, first of all, shared goals, shared values. We had interest in the same markets, and they were at this point a step or two ahead of me. So they had a little bit more credibility. And synergetically, we just aligned with how we wanted to our vision. And once that kind of all came together, as I mentioned before, things really took off. So in the last year, I joined GreenLight Equity officially as a partner. We acquired 572 doors between Oklahoma City and Columbus, Ohio. We raised over $12 million of capital. We had a really good time doing it. And sort of what happened was kind of just to take a step back. Oh, maybe I should pause there and kind of in case you have any questions. So that was a lot.
No, continue on, because I want to hear what happens. I want to hear the full story. I want to hear you that, because that's amazing. You took on 500 plus units, you raised $12 million. And this is simply by finding the correct people, bringing your strengths, not discrediting yourself and all the work that you've put into. Because a lot of people who are just starting think to themselves, well, I've put all this work in, and it's for nothing. No, it's not for nothing. Now you can bring that strength to this future partnership. These relationships that we make are the partnerships of our future. So what happens after that? Like, take us on this journey.
Yeah. And, I was putting I built the foundation, was putting the building blocks down to get to this point. And so, although most people, as we might see the tip of the iceberg that, oh, this is what we've done in a year, there were years in the making to get to that point. And, I would say consistency is key, patience, persistence, and, sticking to your vision. And it can be defeating after years of trying to do something and not getting to, the first deal, right? You always admire, you're like, oh, that person got the first deal in 3 months. How did they do that? Or this person took 3 years. It's like, this is your own journey. And I believe the universe provides, and things happen and unfold as they are meant to be. So in any event, we've gone on to, build this incredibly powerful investment vehicle that not only, for our own dreams and wealth, but really to bring on other investors, whether they be co-GPs, limited partners, to help facilitate, like, what are your goals? Do you love your 9 to 5 job? Do you hate your 9 to 5 job? Do you know about passive investing? So we really created kind of like an educational platform. My partner Tate and I host a monthly meetup. He has a podcast, The Apartment Guys. We're huge into like the education and giving back space, and we feel that always, it always comes full circle, right? Like what you give, you get back, and kind of to take, not totally change direction, but simultaneously while building our portfolio at GreenLight, I also during COVID, like most people, kind of found myself at home twiddling my thumbs, not a lot of deal flow. What's going on in the world? Like, should we be buying? Shouldn't we be buying? Should be buying was the answer because that's what we were doing. But I thought, how can I help other investors design their multifamily properties? Because at GreenLight, we have such a heavy emphasis on design and aesthetic, because we truly believe that when somebody loves their home, feels comfortable, feels safe, they thrive within all other areas of their life. And, it kind of just trickled down. They become better tenants. They're great referrals. I could go on and on, but people are happy, and well-being, as we know, during a pandemic especially, is more important than ever, especially our mental health. So we think that, my design firm, ROI by Design, is how do we bring cost-effective design, particularly to C and B class assets, although we work on new development projects, so that, A class finishes and aesthetics is attainable within all asset class, no matter your race, your religion, your demographic. And so ROI by Design, and, which is vertically integrated with GreenLight, comes at this angle of, we can work with you for what we consider a fraction of the cost of what you're going to pay in construction, more as a consultant. So let us help you with the exterior design of the property, interior design, come up with new, either updating amenity spaces, adding common spaces. So it's really this like full design package. These packages are, you would like laugh when I tell you how inexpensive they are, because truly, like, our mission is to help as many investors bring affordable design to their assets. And we've created these doors where in the past year and a half, we've probably done over 30 projects, over 3,000 units, and we've changed so many different lives. So not just from a personal standpoint, but from a community as well. So when you change the look and feel of a community aesthetically, it radiates. So we're all about, whether it's ROI by Design or GreenLight, this abundance mindset, and just a really, again, heavy emphasis on aesthetic. And at the end of the day, like, everybody makes out. We make out great. Our tenants make out great. Our investors see higher returns because people love where they live and they want to pay.
I love it. It sounds like your company or your companies uplift or seek to uplift everyone, not only your own company, not only your tenants, not only your investors, but for the first time, I've heard you want to uplift other companies as well. You seem to come from a position of, if we win, we all win. If I help you win, we all win. So tell me more about that. As another multifamily provider, if I were to come to you and say, you know what, I have a multifamily property under contract, what would be the next steps for me? Lay that out for me. If I came to you and said, you know what, I would like to use your company to redesign this building that I have under contract, because I am assuming I would come to you before I actually acquired the asset so I could get all the numbers tightened up. So what would be the next steps?
Yeah, that's always the ideal point, is to get us before you close on the property. Yes. But we can help at any point. So first and foremost, we just get to know your plans as owners and operators. We talk about the community, what's in the scope of work. At this point, you've typically budgeted, you're putting together your CapEx budgets, and we're talking about, is exterior painting in the project scope? To what extent is the interior remodel going to be? Are we updating the leasing office? So really just getting a clear understanding of what the plans are to move forward with the community. And then from there, we kind of break it down. This is a full turnkey operation that includes everything from rebranding, repositioning, signage, color schemes, like you name it. Updating, as I mentioned, pool areas, leasing office, adding dog parks or game courts. We want to think, if you were a resident in this community, what would you love to have here? And what would make you feel like this is going to be a place I want to call home? And sort of once we've established that, we, it's pretty straightforward. We put together a design package outlining all of those materials of renderings with the proposed exterior finishes. We'll even work with local signage companies, or if you're a contractor, property manager. And we kind of just consider ourselves another tool in the tool belt. We're a consultant, so we charge a flat design fee based upon the scope of work. Just to give you an idea, our fees for an exterior design package, which would include a paint scheme, rendering, maybe new lighting, a wood accent, something creative, and new signage, coming up with a full design package starts typically between around $3,000. So, and then as we add on maybe interiors, let's say, or amenity spaces, that kind of incrementally goes up. But I can say that our design packages have rarely even been over $10,000, let alone maybe $5,000. So it is really, truly like, hey, we're giving you a roadmap with all of the materials that we can hand off to you and your contractor, property manager, yourselves, to then go purchase and buy from, whether it's local vendors or big box retail stores. We're not reinventing the wheel here at all. We're just saying, how can we get creative within a budget, and that designers like ourselves are affordable and within these asset class? Because as you can imagine, you're probably thinking, oh, designer, that's A-class new build, I'm going to spend $50,000. And it's so not the case. And kind of what we've learned is that we have our systems and processes in place that we can do this for a relatively low amount of money. And the returns are huge. And, once a group comes in and starts working with us, we're on to our second, third, fourth property with most people, because they see how much value this creates. And at the end of the day, like I said, it just really becomes a win, and we're happy, the owners are happy, the tenants are happy, and it's great. We feel like we're giving something back. And I will say that in my past life, I worked in very high-end residential homes of, Tommy Hilfiger, Regis Philbin, those, and this is so much more rewarding and so much more aligned in the multifamily space to being helping people who don't have access to these resources. So it warms my heart, truly.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because we were talking about uplifting. Basically, you're uplifting the entire multifamily community, from those who are investors to your tenants to other providers of multifamily assets. And what you're offering is peace of mind for also, like, not only people who have been doing this for a while, but for new investors. Mm-hmm. Say I'm a new investor and I have my underwriting, I've had my mentors look at it. I give it to you. You're another set of eyes that can look at this and say, what if you did it this way? What if you did it that way? What if you were able to provide this much more value and get this much more rent by doing this one thing? Wouldn't you do it? So this is to my listeners, because especially as entrepreneurs, I know for me, if you had told me about this, like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, I would be like, no, I can do it myself. I can do all of this myself. Multifamily is a team sport. Taken from Chelsea. She said it. I'm going to say it again. It's a team sport. Having somebody like Chelsea and her team on your team can just provide that much more opportunity, that much more flavor to what you're doing, and that much more value, that you might be able to get a better rent bump by creating or doing something different than what you thought with the paint scheme might take you to that much more rent, which would make your investors much happier and give the tenants an overall better experience. So let's talk about that more. Let's dive into that experience of creating something different and working within the team.
Yeah, and we've seen it within our portfolio and with other syndicators that design is a part, all aspects of our life is within design, within the products used, the places we are. And when we put an emphasis on it and put it back into multifamily and kind of think about it a little bit more, it, like you said, it just becomes so rewarding from everybody. And by the way, with ROI by Design, we work with investment groups that are doing their first deal. We work on 30 million plus communities, like everything in between. So there's really no project too big or small. We work virtually. This is nationwide. So it is accessible to everybody and anybody. And it's truly part of our mission statement is to help as many investors. So it always goes back to that. And by the way, we don't get anything out of it other than, our fee that we charge. And so it's in our best interest to help you. And yeah, we just love design. I kind of, just a quick story. One of our properties at GreenLight we purchased about 6 months ago was very distressed, mismanaged, undercapitalized. There was crime, there was drugs, there was homeless people. It was not a safe place. And when we took over the community, it was a real it was a bumpy start. But as we started implementing some of these design elements, starting from the exterior, new signage, entirely new paint scheme, new lighting. I can't emphasize the importance of lighting for not only safety, but aesthetics. And taking that into the units, updating units, we went from being one of the worst communities in the submarket to now we're getting above market rents, and people they want to live in our community, right? And they want to pay top dollar because people want to feel good, and you can't put a price on that. Although as we get into some affordable housing, of course, there's a cap on what we can do. So there's a give and take, and it's being sensitive to, as you mentioned before, how do you allocate funds on your property? What is the best way, best return on your, investment?
And the thing is, and I want to shine light on this too, because you are a multifamily provider, you're not, and I don't want to use the word just, but you're not, quote, just a designer, and you're not, quote, just a multifamily provider. You do both. So you understand the nuances of another multifamily provider wanting to keep costs down, budgeted a certain amount of money so that budget a certain amount of money for the CapEx, budget a certain amount of money for design, budget a certain amount of money for ... So I imagine that you would look to work within that budget, maybe even bring your expertise, which would allow you to maybe even look at that budget and revise it in such a way that would help. Talk about how you can help another investor, perhaps with their numbers as well.
Yeah, it really depends on the market, because we're not a contractor and we can't give pricing. We'll kind of go back to what you said before, is we can maybe see something as a professional that you've missed, right? Not only painting your property. I mean, nothing is more stressful than spending $100,000+ on painting a property and staying up at night wondering if it's the right shade of gray.
It's true, right? I have.
And yeah, we all have. Me. Yeah, so that's why we do renderings and whatnot. But in any event, we might have a suggestion. Let's say, for example, it's not in the budget to paint the entire property. Okay, what accents can we do? What door color, trim? Let's change out lighting. Sometimes the small details go a really long way. And we're part of your advisory. So we're here collaborating with you to figure out what is best for this community and your business plan. So again, we just really become another tool in your tool belt.
Fantastic. You sound like a tool that I need in my tool belt. So you might be getting a call from me.
Before I
let you go, I want you to dig into what you mean by a 5-star life.
For me, a 5-star life is, you hear a lot of people like living their best life. I want to come at everything with 5 stars, whether it be the relationships with my friends, my family, my business partners, my investors, the traveling, whatever that means to me is going to be obviously different to you, but doing everything with absolute 5-star.
No, and I love
and
that.
My business partner, Tate, actually came up with the name because he thinks, the way I travel, or I'm into equestrian and all these things. And he's just like, you're so 5-star. And I was like, yeah, that kind of stuck.
You're like, I'll own that. Thank you. Yeah. I'll take that. 5 stars. And I love that mindset. I love that mindset of entering into what you do with that mindset of doing your best, of giving that 5-star service, of expecting 5 stars from yourself and expecting 5 stars from those around you. It makes for a really, really great partnership. So before I let you go, what are some of the best ways my listeners can get a hold of you?
I would say you can always connect with me on LinkedIn, just Chelsea Garber. I'm, on there. Feel free to message me. You can also reach out to me via email, chelsea@glequitygroup.com. You can check out my design firm, ROI by Design. Again, you type it into any of the social medias. We have a pretty heavy presence there. I'm just always happy to connect with anybody, whether it be fellow syndicators, somebody who's interested in, maybe hiring us for our design services. We have free consultations, and just to keep connecting, as I think we all strive to do here in this space, and giving back.
Fantastic. So from me to all my listeners, please connect with Chelsea. It sounds like she has so much value to give, so much education to give. Take a look at any of the links below. We'll drop it there. Chelsea, thank you so very much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having this amazing platform and having, guests like myself and sharing information and knowledge. That's what it's all about.
Thank you again. And to all my listeners, thank you. I'm so grateful to you. If you liked what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe. It would mean the world to us. And again, thank you. So much aloha, so much love, so much peace. Again, thank you, Chelsea, and thank you to you, my listeners. Aloha.
Thank you.